Hi, this is Chris, Video Game Dust Leaves, and you're listening to the VGDS podcast with DanCavDragon,
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Bone06,
I'm the bandana gamer.
poor bandana gamer, and guest gamers, Dad Level Podcast,
How's it going, folks?
MT Shark 7,
Hey everyone.
and the Bargain Bin Hobo.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Per the norm, sleeve it or leave it. First title is Battle Mania and it's a Japan exclusive for the Mega Drive. And Bones, sleeve it or leave it.
I'm gonna go sleeve this one.
DanCav.
Yeah, I had to look this one up, but this one is actually released in the U.S. as Troubleshooter, which I do have, and that's a great game. So I would definitely sleep the Japanese counterpart of that.
Dad Level.
It looks really cool. I've never played it. I would definitely sleeve it. I probably make the characters look like the two main characters from Dirty Pair, since they kind of look very similar.
MT
It's an
Shark.
anime.
Yeah, MC Shark.
Yeah, I would sleeve it. This game's pretty cool.
And Bargain Bin.
I've not heard of this or its American re-release, whatever you want to call it, but from what you guys have said, I'd sleeve it.
Next title, Kick a Million for Sega Genesis. Dad Level.
Yep, 100%. This was one of my favorite games on the Genesis back then.
Bargain Bin.
Nah, I wouldn't. This is just too tough for me.
MC Shark.
Yeah, I would sleeve it.
Bones.
I have it in case, so I'm gonna skip this one.
DanCav.
I would sleeve it just because it's a Genesis game, but I actually don't have this, or I've never really played it, so I'm curious about it.
Brutally hard, just so you know.
It is.
Next title, you don't see these on here very often. Atari 2600, Junior Pac Man. Dan, sleeve it or leave it.
Yeah, definitely sleeve this game. I think this is the only console this game came out for, so yeah.
Bones.
If I boxed, no, but I would get it sleeved if I had it loose.
Dad Level.
I agree with Bones. I'd get it sleeved if it was loose.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I would sleeve it. This one's actually pretty fun.
And Bargain Bin.
Sorry, kid, I'd sleeve your dad, but you just don't cut the mustard.
Oh.
And the last title, Attack of the Mutant Penguins. MT Shark.
Yeah, I would sleeve it.
Bargain Bin.
One of my favorite movies has Penguin in the title, so I would sleeve it for that alone.
DanCav.
Yeah, this is a pretty collectible title. I would sleeve it.
Bones.
Guaranteed.
And Dad Level.
Yeah, I've never played it, but it looks really cool, and it probably pretty cool, like 3D popped.
Next segment, guess that box art. Should I give you a hint in the first one, or are you guys good with the first one?
Hint.
I know it's a Grand Theft Auto. Just don't know if it's the
Lost in the
expansion.
Damned?
He started with Grand Theft Auto, so it's definitely a Grand Theft Auto title.
Okay.
It looks like it's Lost in the Dam, but
No.
Is it 5?
Yep.
is it fun? Oh wow,
Yeah.
man.
It's Grand Theft Auto
I
5.
didn't know that one.
I
That's a
played
good
it.
one, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dizzy would have been all over this. if
Yeah, he
was
would
here.
have.
Yeah.
See what happens when you miss it, Dizzy? I put Grand Theft Auto on here and you're not here. This is like the second time this happened. That's the funny thing. I think I did
Yeah,
like a
what
sleeve or leave it or something, and he wasn't here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that one.
All right, next
And the
title.
next one is Toy Story,
For
Yeah,
what console?
the
Sega
Genesis.
No.
Super Nintendo.
No.
Game
It's
Boy.
fun.
Game Boy.
It's funny. I thought that
Oh
was
wow.
I thought that was Lara Croft.
Does look like Lara's mouth now that
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
it looks
bit.
like-
Yeah.
That luscious lips, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. The helmet was what threw me towards Toy Story, though.
Yeah.
It was 64.
That's for the Game Boy, Bones.
Toy Story 2 came out on N64, and I own it.
All right, Bones.
That was a little odd for the Toy Story one. I was not expecting that Game Boy one. Okay. On to Logo Sleeve of the Month. Okay, this month's Logo Sleeve is going to be Wars. What is it? Herb
Herb
Wars.
Wars.
I was about to say, man, boy, I'll F that one up so bad. Herb Wars. I really like that sleeve for just being
Plain.
black and white.
Yeah,
I really do like that. If anybody is interested in acquiring one of these sleeves, hit Chris up, and he will accommodate. I guess we could just ask a random person what game should be put in here.
Sure.
I'd probably just put something that involves herbs, so it's like an herbal game in the sleeve.
I mean, Resident Evil could go in there. You know, herbs.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nice.
Does anybody know Herb Wars as a YouTube channel?
No.
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 He's actually from Cape May, New Jersey.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Mark, that's in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So be sure to try to check him out if you can. He's definitely a retro gamer type, not so much modern, but pretty sure he does both. Anyway,
You should get him on the podcast.
I will try. I'll reach out to him because I don't think he knows I do the podcast. That's like an older sleeve I did from a long time ago. So
I was about to say, I never saw that one before.
Yeah, same
He
here.
hasn't done an intro,
Yeah,
has
me
he?
neither.
no, that's what I mean. I'd have to get him on here to do an intro if he's interested. Some people just don't want to, which is fine, and that's the reason why you'll see like these logo sleeves, but like no introductions or anything like that. That's because they're not interested in doing a podcast. Like I said, that's cool. Everybody's got their own thing. So
Yeah.
all right, Dan.
All right. Franchise of the month. This month is pretty straightforward. It's the game Borderlands and its sequels. There's the main series at the top there. And at the bottom, you see there's like the Tales from the Borderlands series. There's Telltale games, the story-driven games. There's a VR version. And then I didn't realize this, but Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is actually set in the Borderlands universe, which came out for PS5 not that long ago. So yeah, curious what everybody thinks of the series.
That plays off of Borderlands, Dan.
It's a separate game. I mean, but it's. I mean,
But it's
I
the same.
did
Is it like the same storyline? Do you know?
I don't know actually.
Tiny Tina is
big
one of the
idea.
she's one of the characters in the second game,
Okay.
and I think she's in 3 as well. It's been a while since I played both of those games. But yeah, it's like her like having a role playing adventure with some of the main characters.
It's a different type of game, right? It's not the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. So, well, Dad, we'll take us off. Start us off then, since at least somebody knows some of these games.
So this was kind of cool. This came out, I think, prior to or after like the Fallout 3 remake. Like when they started changing Fallout to be more of a first-person shooter RPG game. It's 4 players. It's loot-driven. Very similar to like Diablo in a way. But yeah, it's fun. Me and my friends played through 1 through 2, and then the prequel. I've played halfway through 3. Didn't play any of the Telltale stuff. Don't have a VR headset for the PlayStation to try to play the Borderlands 2. Still haven't picked up Tiny Tina's, but good fun. Me and my friends would play it a lot on the 360. Very enjoyable. Fun story.
All right, and then how about you, Bones?
Well, it's kind of pathetic, to be honest. I mean, I started with Borderlands, and I played a little bit of it, and it got put onto the back burner, and never went back to it. The second one came out, I was like, oh, I got to get that. The first one was really good. Never finished it, but it was good. Never even played the second one. I have it. I have the third one. I have the prequel. Didn't play any of them. I didn't know about the other 2, the Tales. I wanted the VR one, but it was not physical. It's only a digital. And since I'm such a stickler, I did not buy it, and there's no reason to buy the one on PS5 because I don't own one. But they
Also
are
on
fun.
PS4.
What's that?
It's also on PS4.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Still, I'm probably not going to acquire it anytime soon. I can tell you. The other ones were good though. The older ones. Like I said, I haven't played anything more current, so I can't really go on any of that. But the franchise in general is fun. I like most games you run around and shoot things.
Who doesn't really? It's a simple pleasure in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, don't even come to me, Dan.
Does it look cool to you at all? Like, was this something you would
Well,
like?
I have a few of them,
Okay.
but I just never played them. I'm kind of have Bones situation here. At least he
Yeah.
attempted to play it. I didn't even attempt to play it.
Well, maybe we can all play them together. Just
Yeah,
to,
at some point in time.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go next. I haven't really put a lot of time into any of these. I have several of these. I have the Tales ones. I actually downloaded those. I don't think I have the physical copies of those. And I bought Tiny Tina's Wonderland because I needed like a third title to do like a buy two get one free or whatever the buy two get one free sale at Target. But so I got that, but I've never actually stuck it in yet. I like the look of it. These are like cell shaded graphics and very comic-y. I just thought it was a cool look and something looked different. But other than that, yeah, I haven't played a whole lot of these, but they look pretty cool, and I'd like to hear more about it. So, how about Mark? Have you played any of these games?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as everyone else. I have a couple of them, but never played it. I think I just have the first one on 360. And my cousin gave me his games, and I just never played it. But
Yeah.
it looks interesting.
Yeah, and I have the individual titles here, but they have like the entire collection, on one disc and stuff. So, yeah, it should be pretty cheap and easy to find.
It is pretty easy to find because like I keep on coming by Borderlands. Like every time I pick up sometimes like a lot of games, usually there's a Borderlands in there because like
Yeah.
it's like commonly put throughout the gaming world, I guess. People
Yeah.
get tired of playing and like, here, okay, I'm tired of this game. You can have it.
And that leaves us with Bargain Bin. And what's your experience with Borderlands?
So I don't remember if I knew about the first one that came out, but when the second one came out, I was in high school or like late high school, early college, and right around then my brother had got a PS3, and he had heard about Borderlands and I guess he heard really good things, so he wanted to play that and he wanted me to play co-op with him. He played it a bunch. I think he got about halfway, and then life kind of pulled him away from that. So he hasn't. I don't think he's ever gone back to it. Later on, I did pick up Borderlands 1, and I never played the pre-sequel. I have Borderlands 3. I just never touched it. These games are really interesting. Oh, and also a little bit more backstory to Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So there's this game. It's like a really tiny, a short game. Same kind of idea. It's like Tina doing a D&D campaign. Originally, it was meant to be a DLC for Borderlands 2, but it just became a standalone experience. But because it was meant as DLC, it's super short. Like, you could probably beat it in one or two comfortable sittings. But now Tiny Tina's Wonderland is much longer. It's like that same idea, just made into a full-length game. I don't own it yet. I intend to grab it relatively soon here, but I have played briefly the short one. I think it's, let's just say if you like Borderlands and D&D, holy crap, you're a nerd, and also this is your game.
Is the short one DLC or is it a standalone thing?
It's a standalone. It was originally meant to be DLC, but then they made it a standalone. I have to Assault on Dungeon Keep or something, I think it's called.
Yeah, I believe so. It's been a while.
Interesting. All right, then there we go. That's Borderlands. Hopefully, somebody checks it out. So hopefully Chris checks it out.
Yeah, I mean, that level.
Man hate Claptrap. I'll just say that right now.
I mean, that level had a good idea, and possibly, maybe we can, if we have these games, maybe play them and then come back on the podcast and talk about it.
You could definitely.
Yeah, we could have like a Borderlands podcast.
Yeah.
Going over the game. That'll be fun.
Yeah, Chris, you should live stream yourself video in it, just to feed it the gameplay, and we'll all sit here and comment while you're playing.
Ha ha ha!
Or we can just live stream together and play, and then have the content from that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We'll see how it goes. But that was a good. It was a good idea, though.
I have the PC version.
All right. Today's podcast is a matter of difficulty, brought to you by Bargain Bin.
You're welcome.
So we'll start. We have 13 questions to get through. All right, question number 1. Should boss fights be allowed to have instant kill attacks? Why or why not? Bones.
See, that's kind of a that's kind of a tough one.
Depends on the game, I think.
Well, that's just like the one thing. Like, really, one kill deaths are a little cheap, no matter how you cut the cheese. But I can see it being able to be done if you can achieve avoiding it or parrying it or something. And once you figure that out, it's a walk in the park. But if it's something that you can't just figure out, and you're never going to figure out, and it's always going to be a roll of the dice, well, then that's a 100% no. The one thing that I don't like is if it was like a one-on-one fighter. There should never be an insta kill in a one-on-one fighter, because that's just pointless and stupid, because it's a fighting game. Like that should have a life bar, not, oh, I hit you one time and you're dead. But pretty much no. I don't think bosses should have them, but I can see instances where it's okay.
That level.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the type of boss. I can understand maybe the last boss having an insta kill just to make it like an intense difficulty, but like a standard boss that you just fight throughout the game, I don't know. I mean, maybe like a hazard kill or something, but just because you're not paying attention. But it can be unfair sometimes. But it also just depends on the type of game it is.
DanCav?
Yeah, I agree with everything people have said so far. I mean, I think I would also add it would probably depend on how you respawn. If you like have built up a lot of stuff and then you get killed and you lose everything, then that's cheap. But if you come back and you have the same power, I think I'm a little bit more okay with that.
MC Shark?
I would say it shouldn't be allowed to have instant kill, because it kind of like takes away from the game. Like, it doesn't make it enjoyable. And maybe, unless maybe like there's a way to like what Bone said, if you can parry it or it's coming, maybe just to keep the battle on edge. But most of the instances, I would say no.
And Bargain Bin?
I'm also going to say no. I'm a little bit of a story here. So Shovel Knight has those different campaigns, and one of them, King of Cards. Without saying too much, the final boss has an instant kill attack, and it has 2 phases, and the second one is like, well, I should say it has 3 phases, but you only get a checkpoint after the first phase. You die in the 3rd phase, you have to go back to phase 2, and long story short, no boss fight. I don't care what the excuse is. No boss fight should have instant kill attacks. That's just cheap.
Number 2. Should long boss fights have checkpoints? Why or why not? Bargain Bin?
Yeah, especially, and I will get into this in the next question, but one particular boss I thought was extremely annoying, and it was extremely repetitive, and there was no checkpoint for a long boss fight, and I understand that particular franchise is known for difficulty, but still, that I think if you're gonna throw a super long boss fight or level at me, you should have the common decency to do a checkpoint. Because if I slip up and lose right at the end, have to go all the way back to the beginning, that's rage quit material.
MC Shark?
Yeah, I think they should definitely have checkpoints, because like what Bargain Bin said, like if you get to the end and you just make some stupid mistake and then you die, you have to do it all over again. It's gonna be very frustrating and annoying at that point, and just not enjoyable.
That level, were you gonna say something?
No.
All right, DanCav?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of checkpoints. For all these questions, as I get older, my video game skills are decreasing, and I'm not as good as I used to be. So I'm in favor of everything being easier and making my life easier. So most of these
Oh,
questions,
you like the hand holding.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna you'll see as I answer some of these. Everything like easier is fine for me, but yeah. So checkpoints definitely. I wouldn't mind that. Maybe if you could like, if you really are on the fence, you could have the option to turn them off, maybe or something. But I would definitely use them if they were there.
Then you should play a lot more modern games, Dan, because they handhold you all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
That level.
Yeah, I would agree with checkpoints because I was playing through Shining Force. Was it the Sword of Hajjah? So it's like the first of the Game Boy Advance games, not Game Boy Advance, but Game Gear games. And you know, you get to the last like 3 battles and stuff. If you mess up on the second part of that battle, you start at the beginning, and it was frustrating. So it's like checkpoints are a must.
Bones.
I would be wondering to myself why the fuck I'm playing the game that I need a checkpoint on a boss.
Balls.
But
I thought the same thing when I seen the question.
I don't like. I hate when a boss takes me that long. Like even some, I think, instances in Zelda where it's like a boss and you're constantly moving, but you got to aim your bow and hit the moving target while you're trying to run away from shit. How much of a pain in the ass that was, and I didn't get a checkpoint for it. You know, it is what it is. It's the boss. I don't feel they should make them that it takes that long that you need a checkpoint for a boss. That's just my personal thoughts. But yeah, I don't think you should have a checkpoint. But I'm going to be in agreement with the other guys that, yes, the older I get, I do like checkpoints. I do like save spots.
Number 3. Was there ever a level that was so hard it made you give up on the game altogether? What made it hard enough to warrant quitting? That level.
I can't think of one at the top of my head because usually I just like, if it's hard, I just continue to do it until I
Until you get
finish
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it gets frustrating. It's like, no, I can't let this win. So
Empty Shark.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's one game, Manticore Galaxy on Fire for the Switch. There's this one level where like there's just so many enemies and they just destroy you like a quarter of the way through, and there's like no way to get through it. And I would look at a playthrough of it on YouTube, and the guy's like barely getting hit. I'm like, what the heck is he doing that I'm not doing? He must be playing on like an easier difficulty, but I just gave up and quit the game.
Bargain bin.
All right, so this I kind of alluded to this in the last answer, but the game was Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z on the Xbox 360. So yes, if you know retro gaming, you know Ninja Gaiden games are supposed to be hard. Fair enough. But this, okay, you guys are gonna laugh at me. I made it to the final boss, and I rage quit the final boss, and it just okay. It's everything I hate in a final boss. It has super cheap attacks that can be hard to dodge, throws super powerful enemies at you while you're dealing with him, and then I swear, if you don't do the thing to hit it just right, it doesn't count, and you have to restart that part. And there are no checkpoints, so you die, you're starting all that over again. And I tried this thing 10 times. Now this game is really hard and not necessarily for the best of reasons, but after that 10th time, and I was literally about to finish it, and then an enemy sucker punched me right at the worst possible time, and I died and lost all that progress, I just boxed the game up and sold it. I don't have the patience for that.
You actually sold the game because
Yeah. I just looked up the ending on YouTube. It wasn't worth this frustration.
DanCav.
Yeah, I mean, back in the NES days, I was a kid when I had the NES, and I was able to beat most of the games on the system at the time, but there were 3 games on there that I just never finished without cheats and stuff. And Bargain mentioned Ninja Gaiden. That was one of the games I could never beat on my own back in the day, so I quit that. And the first Castlevania, I had trouble with that. I never beat that on my own without cheating. And Ghosts and Goblins. Those are 3 like classic examples of games that are just too hard for me at the time.
And Bones.
You said so hard it made you give up on the game. Well, I gave up. Everyone knows on Ghostbusters, so that's gonna definitely be my top pick.
He gave up really hard on that one.
Yeah, it's a broke game. I gave up on it. It was too hard. The steps is broken. I don't care. I don't think anybody's ever beaten it. I don't think it's possible without cheating, because you cannot make it up those steps. So that game in itself, yes, I gave up immediately.
Bones, reiterate what happened to that game.
You will be thrown out a window.
You literally threw it out the window.
I bought a replacement.
Did a car run over it too? Is that what happened? I forget what you told me. I know you threw it out the window. I remember that.
No, it was the third floor window, and it did break in pieces on the back. Still worked, believe it or not.
Nintendo games take a beating, but still keep on ticking. Remember
The Timexes.
that.
Yeah.
So you can say it came back to haunt you, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. I threw that copy out. I bought another replacement years later when I decided, if you want a full set, you're going to have to buy that garbage again.
See, it's all you. You had to buy it twice.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, you need to make a sleeve that can survive being thrown out of the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A padded sleeve or something.
And then nail it to Bones.
Yeah,
Give it to
Bones.
Or make a trap sleeve, like it's, you caught the ghost.
No. Bones has come a long way since a little boy, all right? I don't throw my games around anymore, no matter how bad they are.
Number 4. Should long levels have checkpoints? Why or why not? Mark.
Yeah, I would think so, because, like, same with the boss fight checkpoints. Like, if you get to the end and you slip up, it makes it just frustrating and not enjoyable when you have to do, like, say, like, the beginning was easy, and then, like, later on it's harder than just doing it repetitively. It's just kind of frustrating.
Bargain bin.
Yeah, I have a specific example for this one too. Okay, I love this game to death. Dragon Quest Heroes 2, great game, but it's one of those things where you at no point do you get a checkpoint except for the last boss. But basically, it's a super long level. It's like the midway point through the game, and it has a bunch of protection missions. There's a ton of strong enemies you have to fight, and it took me. This level will take you 35 minutes minimum to beat, and I had played this level multiple times, finally got to the end, and I was like, you have to fight multiple boss-type enemies, and I was so close to finishing this stupid level, then I got hit right at the last second, all that progress was gone, and then I finally broke down and did the thing in the game where if the mission's too hard, you use the item to make it easier, so that'll give you more healing items, enemies damage you less, you can revive more, and it still took forever, but when the second time around, I beat that level first try, but that will still haunt me. But long answer short, yes, long levels should definitely be required to have checkpoint. When I become president of the gaming industry, I'll make that a law.
DanCav.
Yeah, I mean, I like the boss thing. Definitely, I'm in favor of checkpoints for long levels. I'm curious to see who would not want it, who would say they shouldn't be a checkpoint. But for me, definitely a checkpoint.
That level.
I'll say one word. Cutscenes, mandatory cutscenes that you can't skip, even though you died on the level like 15 times and you have to watch this cutscene over and over again. No, just checkpoint, please.
That's a good point, actually.
That's a good
or
point.
make it so you can skip it after watching it the first time.
Yeah.
Be nice to have a skip button, right? Just like press X so that you can keep going.
Dragon Quest Heroes 2 does have to let you skip cutscene. Just press start and hit X and you can skip the cutscene.
Bones.
Well, luckily we don't get barraged with tons of games that have serious checkpoint issues. I mean, there are definitely a lot of games out there that have a level or two with a checkpoint issue in it. I can remember one distinctively, Black, for PS2 or Xbox. I'm on the last level. I still haven't beat it. The level's long as shit. I put like over an hour into the level, and then if you die, you go right back to the effing beginning.
I
And
remember that.
I died like 3 times. I pissed away like 3 hours, and I got so mad. I didn't throw anything. I just laid the controller down, listened to the intro music a couple times because I enjoyed the music in the beginning. Believe it or not, it's just weird. But that one in itself, every time I died, I could not understand why is there no checkpoint. Like there should be a checkpoint. And that in itself makes it that yes, there should be checkpoints.
Number 5. What is an acceptable way to make a game harder? Bargain bin.
Well, first off, I mean, you should not start the game super difficult. You know, have a learning curve. Give the player time to adapt. Take for example, Silent Hill. When you first start the game, there's only a couple monsters, you can easily outrun them. Gives you time to adapt. But after a while, you've had your time. You've had time. The grace period's over. The gloves are off. There's monsters everywhere. You're gonna have to fight. But I think an acceptable way is make it so that you can learn things and you can figure out how to do things without dying or taking too much damage if you practice enough. And I have more to say on the next question, but just make it so it's not a dick move for the sake of making it harder. I'll just say that.
Yeah, basically you want progression.
Basically.
Mark, MC Shark.
I would say make the enemies have maybe 1 or 2 more hits to kill them, just to make it gradual.
That level.
Utilize the difficulty very well. Maybe make it to where there's less resources that you have at your disposal if you're playing like Resident Evil. There's quite a few things, but I mean, really, actually look at it. It depends on the series. I mean, because you jump into Dark Souls, it's going to be a little difficult. It's meant to be difficult. People want that challenge. I don't know. I think utilizing the difficulty is the best way to do it.
DanCav.
I'd like to know in the beginning, when you select there's 5 difficulty levels, I'd like to know exactly what the difference. If they explain to me exactly what I'd hate to start something and then play it for a while and figure out this is it's getting too hard. Then I have to go back and start over again at lower difficulty. So I would like to better, more detailed exactly what it is that makes it harder. And then I think I don't mind if as you go along and the enemies start getting harder. That's if you're equally getting more powerful as well. So if there's get better weapons or your stats scale accordingly to the difficulty of the enemies. I think then that's okay. As long as you're just getting more powerful as their enemies are. So I think that's acceptable.
Bones.
I don't really have much of an input for this one. I do for the next one. I mean, as far as making a game harder, I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's just up
to the developer.
To the developer. I mean, like I said, I have more of, for the next question, I have a response than anything for that.
No problem. We'll go to the next question. Number 6. What is an unacceptable way to make a game harder? Bones.
DLC.
Good answer. That level.
That DLC thing just threw away my my thought process. I have no clue at the moment.
Okay, no problem. DanCav.
Well, I mean, I have 2 things. One is Dad mentioned getting resources, limiting resources as a good way of making the game harder. I don't like in games like Resident Evil where if it's harder, then you'll have less save ribbons or something. That goes back to the making it easy and checkpoints and stuff. I don't want to be my saves to be affected by making the game harder. And then the second point I was gonna make was in the old days of the NES, when you would have 2 players, they would just double the amount of enemies, which is okay if your partner is alive, but once the guy dies, and you have to take on twice as many enemies as by yourself, that's not very fun. So I think, if you're going to increase the number of enemies just because there's a second person there, then I think if the second person dies, they have to like scale it back down.
MT Shark.
Oh man, there's so many unacceptable ways. I would say crappy hit detection, tricky platforming, lack of checkpoints, and the list goes on.
And bargain bin.
Okay, so I can think of a few too. Enemies that can hit you while they are being hit, that's gotta go. That's annoying. That's not challenging, that's annoying. Enemies that can block every combo like it's nothing and then hit you with annoying precision. If that's like 1 or 2 times enemies, fine, but not every single enemy I fight, like in Conan, for example. That was annoying, because in Conan on Xbox 360, PS3, basically every enemy but the absolute weakest can block every hit you land on them and then hit you right back. That's annoying. Instant kills out the wazoo. If there's like every little thing can kill me right away, that's not fun. Give me time to prepare for it so I know what I'm supposed to do. And also, gosh, there's gonna some brilliant here. But yeah, if you're gonna poison me, make sure I have a way to actually get rid of the poison. Otherwise, if my only option is just sit there and watch myself die, then that's not fair.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Sometimes poisoning can be so cheap and it's not fun.
Yeah.
And I thought of mine too.
Go ahead.
So like doing it for money. Like, you play in an arcade and they put the difficulty up just so they can get extra money from the players. And so it kind of like dissuades you from wanting to play the game because
Well, that's how it is in the arcade though. They're quarter munchers,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They want to take the money. All right, number 7. Should games be required to have an easy mode? Why or why not? Dan.
That's a tough one. I mean, I guess it depends on how hard the game is to begin with. I mean, but I don't think you can ever say something has to be required. But I would recommend it, just in case you have a new gamer or a kid or something playing it for the first time. I'm not opposed to that at all.
Bones.
Well, I mean, literally, it's a nice thing to have. It's a feature that I think almost all games should have. But if it doesn't have one, I'm not overly upset about it. As long as it's not a game that you start playing and say, why the hell does this not have a menu where I get to pick how hard it is? As long as it isn't a game like that, then I don't care if it has any kind of selection.
That level.
I have no problem with an easy mode. It allows players to be able to have access to a game that may be difficult to normal players. Plus, maybe they just want to play through the story and not have to deal with the difficulty of actually playing the game, which is kind of cool because there's some games that actually do that. If you just want to play the story to get the story, you can.
Bargain bin.
I kind of agree with what Dad Level said. Like, I mean, they're nice. They're nice to have, especially in the case of like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. The easiest mode, you literally can't die. And that might be a little bit extreme, but also like in Serious Sam has like a tourist mode where enemies are really weak and your health regenerates and you cannot damage yourself. If you just want to just destroy everyone and not have to worry, it's nice to have, but I don't think they should like required, but absolutely are nice to have if you just want a casual experience. Just play at your own pace, just a little bit of challenge here and there is fine, but that's why I don't play Dark Souls, because I'm just not huge into difficulty.
And MT Shark.
I think for games that are notoriously hard, I think it would be nice to have it required as an easy mode, but like for like games that like are normally easy, I mean, I don't think it should be required. I mean, it's like everyone said, it is a nice to have, but I think it should only be required for like games that are like notoriously hard, like shooters and like maybe like Dark Souls type of games.
Number 8. Some games taunt players for choosing easy mode, like calling them a coward or a baby. Do you think this is funny or mean-spirited? Empty Shark.
I would say it's mean-spirited. I guess, especially since like if gamers don't know, haven't played the game before, and they just want to like learn it. Because I know one game, Wolfenstein is one that does that. Their difficulty. But playing that game usually on normal, it's pretty much a walk in the park if you play on normal anyway.
Bargain.
Yeah, so for those who are not familiar with Wolfenstein, the lowest difficulty level on Wolfenstein is Daddy, Can I Play? And also, in Wolfenstein The New Order, when you choose your difficulty, if you choose that option, it shows a character in a baby bonnet with a pacifier looking like they're about to cry. And then there's also like Deadpool, a video game, has the same as like baby crying pacifier, or like in the I remember which game, I think it's called Zombie, but if you choose easy mode, it makes chicken noises at you. And so I can see how somebody would think that's mean, but I think it is kind of funny as long as they don't take it too far. Oh, also like I don't remember which game it was, but the lowest difficulty is Thou Needeth a Wet Nurse. I think it's Hexen, but I don't remember.
Oh man, DanCav.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. I mean, I think it goes with gaming. You know, like I'm sure if you play online with friends, it could get a lot worse and more mean-spirited. So, or especially amongst the online community.
It's meant to be a joke.
Was that? Yeah,
So
I think
it's really meant to
within,
be a joke.
yeah, within the context of a game, I'm
Right.
sure. I think if you're looking for like, something to build your self-esteem and all, probably video gaming, and it may not be always the best route for that. But this problem might take care of itself. In this era of being woke and promote positivity among kids and stuff. That might be frowned upon, and designers may just correct it themselves.
That level.
I mean, it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. Plus, most of these
Right.
games that are like this are going to be for adults anyway. So it's like, it's just it's a funny thing. I don't think take it as mean-spirited
Yeah.
at all.
I'm the same way.
I mean, it's single player. It's not like it's multiplayer. Them saying, "Oh, you want to be in the easy matchmaking? All right, we get you." Kind of nonsense.
Bones.
Well, I don't think I've really ever heard of anybody complaining about the game was talking shit to them, or except for that cocksucker C-Man. That son of a bitch, man. I'll tell you what. You put that in years later, he brings up cold-hearted shit. Oh man, because he doesn't know anything new, so he just brings up bad memories. He's an asshole. And then all he does is talk shit to you. Like that game, okay, I could see that game possibly, but nah,
I'm gonna have to play that game now.
It's like,
like your dad said, it's tongue in cheek. Like, it's not meant to be offensive like that. Like you're gonna take it personally, even though we live in a day and age where everybody takes shit personally. It's not supposed to be.
all I can think of is C-Man is like the whole, you've been gone for like 22 years. I had to eat like my family and stuff. I've been surviving, trying to like wait till you get back.
He started bringing up my dad. I'm like, my dad's dead, you bitch. I was so pissed.
Oh man. Number 9. Some games like Devil May Cry or the Omnimusha games require the player to die a few times to unlock the easy mode. This is a good idea. Why or why not? Empty Shark.
I don't think it's a stupid idea, really, because why is it not already in the menu to begin with?
DanCav.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have the option just from the get-go. I mean, I don't think I need the game to tell me what mode I should be playing, judging me like, oh, you suck. Here, I'll give you the easy mode now. But I mean, I can see. I mean, if they do it and they do a good job of it, that's fine. I think.
Bargain bin.
I kind of see the point behind it. Like, So you try the game out, you die a few times. The game's like, oh, well, so you died a few times. If this is too hard for you, here's this easy mode for you. But I can't see why someone would just want the easy mode from the get-go and not have to go through that crap.
Bones.
I say just give it to the fucking menu. Why make me die a couple times and then go, ha, you suck, here, you want to play easy? Nah. Like, nah, you might as well just put it on the main menu.
And that level.
Wait, these games had that option? I never seen that joking.
Yeah, in the first Devil May Cry, if you die a couple times in the first level, it'll give you the option for called Easy Auto, where you basically automatically do combos, so you can just button mash your way through.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I mean, I'm a big fan of these two series. I wish Onimusha would come back, but I think it's good either way because it kind of gives you because it kind of already holds your hand as far as like how to play, and if you just can't grasp it, having that option pop up may be really good. Because you don't want to like judge the player before they start. You want to have them get the feel for the game. If they can do it, then they'll never see the pop-up message.
I could see where, like, if I'm a game designer and I really wanted it to be a certain way and a certain difficulty level, and I'm happy with the way it is, but then, like, let's say my boss comes and goes, well, maybe this might be a little too tough for younger kids, so maybe you want to tone it down a little bit, and I'm really against that. Then I would say, okay, I could compromise, and how about let's say if they die several times, then maybe we will unlock that for them. The offer, if I'm really
unlock though, like you're saying, unlock, like it's unlock it. Like to me, that's just strange. Like you have to unlock it. Like, okay, maybe if you just die, like, I don't know. It's just odd to me.
Well, then you have games where it'll just automatically scale the difficulty according. Like when you play Mario Kart and the computer plays better. How well you're doing. So there's games that do that in real time where they cheat more or they get cheap if you start doing really well.
I like Max Payne 2 specifically. Like if you're doing good, there's less ammo, less healing items, and enemies are stronger. If you start doing bad, then you get more healing items, more ammo, and enemies are less powerful type thing.
Number 10. What is the difference between challenging and difficult? Bargain bin.
So think of like for challenging like Donkey Kong Country. Your first playthrough that is going to be really rough because the first couple levels are easy, but as game goes on, you have to learn all the new things, and as you're learning them, yeah, you're going to have trouble, you're going to die. But put in the time, put in the practice, it becomes second nature, and then you could breeze through the game without dying. So like take the time to learn it, and it becomes easier. That's challenging. Difficult means you're gonna get your butt kicked no matter what you do. Like even if you know exactly how to do it, you're still gonna die a lot. That's like Dark Souls, for example. That's difficult.
MC Shark.
I would say challenging would be like games that like kind of put you on edge, like, but you can easily get past it. But difficult is just like stuff that is just cheap in games that you can't get through, and it gets just frustrates you, and then you end up rage quitting.
DanCav.
Yeah, I would view challenging as a good thing and difficult as a not so good thing. I mean, I don't want my game too easy where I'll finish it in half an hour and feel like I waste my money. I want something that makes me feel great, that I earned it and that I did really well. And then so challenging for me is good, and difficult I would say is more of a negative thing where it discourages me from trying to finish it.
That level.
Well, I always thought that challenging was like just testing your abilities, it's above the average of what standard play would be. And then as far as difficulty is like, how hard it is. Like if the enemies are a little bit harder, maybe they hit a little bit harder. Maybe your damage that you do, the output you do is less, and then you take more damage. It just changes the overall experience of the game versus like this part in the game is just kind of challenging versus being difficult.
Yeah, Bones.
Oh boy, what is the difference between challenging and difficult for me? Probably 100+ deaths, I'd say, somewhere around there. challenging, I'll get through, and it'll be fun. Difficult, I'm gonna die and die and die, and I'm probably gonna have to take a lot of breaks on. It's not gonna be as fun.
But you'll still go back.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have not. I haven't gone back to Ghostbusters. I haven't gone back to Black. There's a bunch of games yet.
Number 11. Some games lock the hardest difficulty until you beat the game. Should they do this? Why or why not? Bones.
I honestly cannot think of a title off the top of my head, but I know there's games that have no selection at all, and they're stupid. Ghosts and Goblins is one of them. But yeah, no, I hate that they do that. They should always, especially if it's going to be a really hard game, should have that option.
That level.
I mean, most games do it. Like, I know Devil May Cry does it. You start off with the, Son of Sparta and Demon Knight or something like that. And then as you beat the game, it unlocks more. But, usually your progression plays through each playthrough. So, like, anything you unlock, continues through. So it makes it a little bit easier.
Doesn't God of War do that too?
I think so. Even Resident Evil does it as well.
And Uncharted.
Yeah, Uncharted as well, and I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong with having the harder difficulties there for those that want to take up the challenge, because most people are just going to be content just beating the game and playing through the story, So,
DanCav.
Yeah, I'm okay with if they unlock a difficulty level, a new difficulty level after I beat the game, but I don't want that. I don't want games where you can't get the best ending unless you beat it on the
on multiple levels of difficulty.
Yeah, like I don't like it that you
they got
play
like
through.
They got like 3 different endings.
That's slightly annoying to me because sometimes I don't have the time, or I don't care. I don't want to have other games I want to play. I don't want to play the same game 3 times in a row. So yes, I don't want different. I don't want the best ending only on the hardest difficulty level. That's what I'm trying to say.
Empty Shark.
For me, I'm 50-50 on this. I would say for it just because it allows you to. It makes the game less frustrating because you're on a easier difficulty, and then when you get to the harder one that you unlock, then you're familiar with the game, and it still makes it easier than if you went right into it blind. But I'm also not for it because then you have to play multiple playthroughs and see the same parts of the game over and over again.
And Bargain Bin.
So like I feel like so you have hard, easy, normal, hard, and then like very hard mode is locked until you finish the game on whatever difficulty. I think they should only do that if there's like a significant difference between hard and very hard. Like hard, yeah, you're gonna get shot a bunch, whereas very hard, you'll die if you step on a twig the wrong way. So I think, yeah. So like I said, if there's a significant difference between them, go ahead and lock it. Otherwise, just why bother? Just give me the hard mode up front. I won't play it, but it's nice to have the option.
Right.
I misread that question. Ooh.
You want to go again? Go ahead, Bones.
Well, I read it back. I read it for the opposite reasoning, but as far as if you're gonna lock the hardest difficulty, I could care less as long as, like Dan said. Because Dan, when you said that, I was thinking to myself, did I read the question wrong? But if they're gonna lock some of the game out, or you get like there's still one more whole set of levels, but you can't do it until you do through it up to that point, and then unlock hard mode and play through it to hard mode to see the rest of the ending. I don't like when they hide shit from you, but yeah, they might as well, just like I said, you should always just put them all in the option menu. Give the people the option.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have to have the main story be blocked. Maybe like a hidden ending is fine, but like, but there's some games that like you play them, and if you're playing them on easy, you only get like so many levels. You beat the game, but like you don't get the whole experience. I think like Super Contra or Contra 3 was like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it is.
There's one guy. I'll tell you a side story. There's one game on the NES. I think it's Super Pitfall, and you go through all these temples and collect all the treasures and stuff, and it takes a while to do that. And then I played it through, got the ending, and at the end it was just a blank screen with text saying, "Sorry, you did not get best ending. Try again." And then so it turns out that's it. There's no ending except for that text. And then so I was like, okay, crap. I obviously didn't get the real ending, so I have to do this again. So yeah, it really requires you to go through and get every single treasure, and not miss anything. And so it takes a while to do that. And so finally, I spent a long time doing that. And finally, when I got to the end and beat it, it's the same text screen, but all it says is "Congrats, you got best ending." It's there's still no ending except for they changed the text. It was like, it's like broken English. It was like, "Congrats, you got best ending."
Wow.
And I was like, "What? I spent all that time for that." So that's definitely a case where I don't want that. Like I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to be fooled into thinking there's an ending where that's not really there.
Well, it wasn't like the ending of Donkey Kong Country, like at Cranky Kong at the end says something, and people thought that there was some extra thing if you beat it at a shorter time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's like, and it wasn't anything. It was just it was supposed to be a joke.
And then like in Street Fighter 2, you must defeat Shenlong.
Yeah.
That was, like a whole extra fighter.
You got to go get all 7 Dragon Balls there. He shows up, and you wish to fight him.
Number 12. Unfair difficulty modes. Like, this is up Bones' alley. Nightmare mode and the original Doom. Have you dabbled in them before, and have you beaten one of them? Since it's in Bones' alley, Bones?
Oh my god, yeah. Like I said, I like having that option. Do I always want to go and put Nightmare mode on in Doom? Hell no. Because you've got to really concentrate on what you're doing when you put it on Nightmare. If I just want to run around and have some fun, I pick one of the other modes. I mean, I never picked the bottom, but I like having the option, and they are fun. But you have to be good at the games to do it. Like, if you pick the hardest mode on Call of Duty, I'm going to look at you and say, I would suck, I wouldn't like it. I'd get mad watching you play if you're really good at it. Because I'd just be that bad at it. But people put it on like the hardest difficulty, and they will be phenomenal. So you have to be good at it. But if you're good at it, you will enjoy those types of modes. Any of the hardest difficulties are only going to be fun if you know what you're doing and are good at the game.
Bargain bin.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what Nightmare mode alludes to, literally every second there's a monster spawning in. You do not have any breathing room whatsoever. There's no such thing as a safe room because literally like that, there's a monster, another one. You kill one, well, there's 3 more right there, and then there's 5 more. So long story short, I typically don't, but in the Steam version of Doom, you get a trophy for finishing 1 level in that mode. I did it with cheat codes on, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And so you want to do that, you're either brave, crazy, or somewhere in the middle. And I salute you, but I also think you should get your head looked at.
That level.
I guess I need to go see a doctor.
Yeah, me too, right?
But you know, it's there's certain games that bring a whole level of excitement and challenge to it when you play it on the harder difficulties, like Fallout New Vegas. You know, there's the realistic mode where you have to maintain your water, your food. You can't just use stim packs to heal yourself. You actually have to go see a doctor if you have a broken bone. It kind of just brings this like other element to the game. Plus, you can change the difficulty, of course, but like even Diablo has normal, nightmare, hell, and whatever going on. And that's usually fun, but usually your character progresses at those point in times. And then there's people that like to do the whole thing of like, once you die, it's permadeath. So, I have no problem with it. I mean, it's fun. I've dabbed into it. Of course, like Bones was saying, I am the guy that plays Call of Duty on Veteran. Doesn't mean that I'm really good playing online, but I mean, I play through those games.
Moving around and stuff, you're on point if you're playing on that. So you're good.
But it's I don't know. It just brings another level of challenge to it. I don't know.
Because sometimes those are games that you just play and you just do your your reflexes, your can't remember what the thing they used to call it for when you're playing games like that. But you just kind of get into zen and you're playing, and it just I don't know. It's fun. It's different. It just brings a little bit more challenge because I can play it and just go through the story, but I want to kind of like problem solve. How do I need to get away from the situation on a map with these soldiers and not die by grenades and everything else?
Have you done Final Doom on Nightmare?
No, I have not.
Don't rush to do that one. That's one that's not fun because they have the Archvile in there who brings guys back and he makes you get hit with fire and shit. It's not fun when he's on the screen because you get overloaded with cyber demons and other shit that it's too much to handle. Then, just like Bargain Bin said, you're not going to want to be playing it for long.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I've dabbled in Nightmare Mode on Doom, but yeah, I can't get anywhere with it. But it's kind of fun just to mess around with.
DanCav.
Yeah, I guess the key is unfair. Like, if it's unfair, I probably wouldn't waste my time on it. But there are games where like they were difficult at first. Like I would never imagine that I would be able to play at a harder difficulty. But once I got pretty good at it, then when I played the more difficult levels, it wasn't as bad. And I was like, oh, it's and then there's some games where I ended up being pretty good at, and I would always play on the hardest level. So I guess it depends on, as long as your skills are improving with the game, then it's okay to go difficulty, higher difficulty levels. But I don't know about unfair. I've never really played a game where the difficulty I thought was unfair.
All right. Final question, number 13. Is there a type of mission or genre in games you are not good at all and hate doing? Bargain Bin.
Okay, so I can think of a few, but for me, that would be like stealth. And so it's one thing. Okay, so Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, great game, but the weirdest thing, because the Spider-Man Noir, how do you say that section? Or like the 1930s Spider-Man?
Noir.
It's like, what? Noir?
Yeah, noir.
Noir. So that's like my favorite from an aesthetic standpoint because it's kind of interesting, like probation era Spider-Man, and it has like Tommy guns. But it's a stealth level, and I just hate those. But what's nice about those is that it's not like one toe enters a light, game over. You get seen, you can just run away for a little bit, wait for things to calm down, come back and try again. And then there's sections in that where you could just say screw it and just fight. And those are my favorite parts of those whole sections. But the older Splinter Cell games where like one toe enters a light, game over, no, I don't want to do that. That's more annoying. I do not have the patience. I've heard the newer Splinter Cell games have like toned that down where like it's more action oriented. You can get seen and not instantly lose. But yeah, for me, no, I don't like stealth, especially if there's no chance to fight in stealth. Like, I get seen once, I'm dead. I don't think that's fair.
MT Shark.
I would say real-time strategy games I really suck at and don't enjoy playing at all.
DanCav.
I'm not a big fan of like crafting games where you have to like hunt for food and build stuff and make fire and all that. Those survival type, and otherwise you die. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those type of games where you have to do those tasks.
Dan just doesn't want to feed the guy. That's just what.
It's not the game. I don't want to live. I can do. I have to survive.
You got to live
life.
now, right?
Yeah, to cook in real life. I don't want to do that in the game.
You don't want to do it in a game. Makes sense. I mean, you're here to enjoy yourself, right? So you don't enjoy doing that in a game. Well, obviously, you're not going to play it. That level.
Games with like timers that aren't actually accurate to what you need to do to complete the mission. With like things that may come up that prevent you from completing the mission, or as far as even like stuff that has too overly complicated like menu systems with like multiple items that you have to manage that are useless to the game. that someone may want to experiment, but they kind of like distract you from what you're trying to do.
And last but not least, Bones.
Boy, well, it's not a genre, so we're gonna have to go with the type of mission. We're gonna have to go with anything that they go motion controls.
Oh yeah.
When they force you to use damn motion controls, that shit drives me nuts. You have to tip the controller, dip it, twist it. Oh, guess what? You can't move these blocks properly in Zelda. Get your ass up,
I was
grab
just
the
going to
actual
say.
unit, put the things back on it, and sit there and turn the unit. And now you got to move your switch up and down. That stuff just it infuriates me.
You don't like the David Cage games, Beyond Two Souls and.
I don't like having to do any of that. I haven't played those though. No.
There are certain I'm thinking like old school NES games where they completely combine two different genres, and sometimes it's very jarring. Like it'll be like a side-scrolling platform, and then you're forced to go into like some shooting sequence where you're controlling a cursor and trying to do like a shooting stage, and then or there might be like a level where you're like like those Star Wars games where you're like it's a side-scroller, and then you have these like X-wing levels, and then if it's not done well, like sometimes the flying or the driving sequence isn't done really well, then that kind of like sucks.
All right, that concludes the podcast. Let's just get through this last segment, game of the month. Bones.
Let's go with. I didn't play anything new. Let's just go with Borderlands VR since I never acquired that.
That level.
Lion King on Super Nintendo.
DanCav.
I'll go with the next game I'm looking to buy, which is Callisto Protocol.
Just got that. I want to play it tonight if I can.
Yeah.
MT
Let me know how it
Shark.
is.
I'd say Allah's Awakening on the Evercade.
And Bargain.
That would be Hunter the Reckoning Wayward on the PS2.
Bargain, thanks for coming up with the topic.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for joining in again.
Anytime.
Please,
Yeah.
like, comment, and subscribe. As always, don't blow, just leave. Later.
Later, guys. Have fun.
See ya.
Peace out, everyone.
Okay.
Testing.
Bones.
Mary Poppins.
That level.
What up, y'all?
DanCav.
Hey, test one, test on.
MT Shark.
Hey, everyone.
Bargain Bin.
Speaking of testing, you are testing my patience.